Welcome to the third installment of the ANA podcast. I'm Michael, joined here with my co-host Daniel. Good evening, Daniel.
Good evening, Michael. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing great.
Good to hear that.
And I'm so happy to be here for the third episode of our podcast.
Yes, I'm so happy too. Now, we're having so much fun doing this. It's ridiculous. I would like to, first of all, start by apologizing to our audience. Last week, we promised good audio, and we fell short from it. We had a misconfiguration in the audio settings, so we'd like to apologize. We couldn't fix it. I tried to fix it as much as I could in applications. And so hopefully this week the audio will be nice and crispy and enjoyable. We also like to let you know that we're currently experimenting with formats and topics and everything. So if you found last week's podcast too long, we were experimenting. Don't worry, not all podcasts will be that long. If they are longer than usual, I encourage you to not listen to it in one sitting because you get sick of us hearing our voices. So maybe split it through a few days. It's good. We also would like to thank you for your overwhelming support. First episode, you guys over exceeded our expectations, and we were really astonished on how much support we've got. Second episode as well. And now we're available on more and more platforms. We're available on the Spotify application, which is huge because this is like the second biggest podcast platform after Apple Podcast. We're also in the approval process of being in the Google Play app and in the Google Podcast app for Android users. And we'll be working to add our podcast on more services like Stitcher Premium and other ones. And so we thank you very much. We also would like to let you guys know that to our surprise today, I sent Daniel a recording, a screen recording from my iPhone of me finding unexpectedly our podcast on the top 8 podcasts featured on the technology category in the Apple Podcast application. So Apple featured us, and we didn't expect it. Apparently, the review process went so well that they thought of us good enough to be featured, and so I'm astonished. I'm blown away about all of this. It's crazy. You got any thoughts, Daniel?
Yeah, we're so thankful for you guys' support. I mean, I just checked the subscriber count right before recording this episode, and we were at like 170 RSS subscribers. That's not including SoundCloud.
Wow.
And we're really astonished at the fact that after 3 weeks we're already at these numbers, and we're just so thankful that you guys are actually willing to come and listen to us ramble or about some technology. Just two university students like our bio, and I'm super surprised that Apple decided to feature us and put us on the list for technology. It's such an honor to be counted as one of the technology top 8 technology podcast that Apple. That's how Apple Podcast thinks of us.
Exactly.
And honestly, I just did this to have a good time, have a good conversation with my friend Michael, and now we're here with a bunch of subscribers, and it's great. It's great. It's been a fun 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And the number one person on the podcast application in the technology sector in the category is Lewis from the Unbox Therapy, and this guy has like over 10 million subscribers on YouTube. So I don't know, man. Like we must be doing something right. And so as we refine and hone our craft and find our niche and find our style, we would like to thank you for sticking through it with us. We encourage you to, if you have like some kind of topic request and anything like that, just tweet at us, and you could contact us. We have many social media platforms that you could reach us at, and we'd be glad to answer your questions.
Email.
If you have any like our interesting article that you found, just forward it at us. You could read it and enjoy it, and if we find it relevant enough, we could even mention it in the podcast and give you a shout out. So yeah, do you want to start the first topic right now, or you have something else?
Sure. No, that's it for the intro.
All right, so let's get into the topics. The first topic, Daniel, your first topic is
Apple TV Plus.
Yes, Apple TV Plus. Interesting. So, what do you want to tell us about it?
So, Apple TV Plus. So, up to speed. So Apple TV Plus is a streaming service that, like a streaming service, I mean by like video streaming, sort of like a Netflix, that Apple announced in March, at their March event, March 25th. And they're going into a very competitive market. There's like Spotify. There's Netflix. There's Amazon Prime. There's Prime Video. There are a lot of streaming services out there that are already like there's Crave TV, also HBO.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Hulu.
of streaming services that have their Hulu. There's a lot of streaming services that already have like a strong grip on the audience, and this is not cheap. I mean, it's going to be another extra $10. Well, they're speculating $10 to $15 a month for this streaming service. And Apple's coming out. They put a lot of money into this. They put about like they say $1 billion into this streaming service. So they really want to make sure that when they go in, that they're gonna go in with a bang, and that they're gonna try to get subscribers, either to leave other streaming services or to just get more subscribers. But I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I don't know if it's a good thing for them to do this, to go into this this market of streaming.
Yeah, I have very limited thoughts. I do have thoughts regarding this new service that Apple announced, and so we know that we discussed this before, but Apple is diversifying their revenue streams, where they're trying to not only be a product, like physical product manufacturer and seller, but also services. So we have iCloud, we have Apple Music, we have many other services. And one of them right now they're trying to expand into is original content by producing their own content, like Netflix. Netflix, they make a lot of TV shows for themselves, and some of them are really like hits. I think some of them even won some awards at the Academy or whatever it's called, not the Grammys, the other one, the Oscars. And it's interesting that Apple is going into them because they captured a lot of big stars like Jason Momoa, the guy from the movie Aquaman, the main character from Aquaman. They had Spielberg, I think he was there. That guy, they did. This guy's a legend. Like he wrote almost every like
Jaws,
like a chunk of fat movies with big budgets. And they have Oprah, which I don't know much about Oprah, honestly, but I hear that she has big popularity, whatever her content is. I've never
a book club.
A book club, okay. Yes, I remember. It's child-oriented stuff. And
that's what she's in charge of.
Yeah, I think.
Well, that's what she's gonna be doing.
I think it was a child-oriented stuff. But Apple always make children-friendly stuff, and they have also Jennifer Aniston, which played maybe. I think she played a role in the biggest TV or one of the biggest TV series ever made. It's called Friends, and so she's huge, and she made other movies and other TV series also, which is very impressive. And there's other ones, I forget their name. But it's not important who they are. Because my thought about this, I'm going to end with this thought because I don't want to keep going forever. But more and more, every company is coming out with a streaming service. We have Disney that's coming out with their streaming service. I believe that you want to talk about it as well. We actually spoke about it last week. We spoke about Disney Plus, whatever it's called.
Yeah, whatever it's going to be called. Yeah, we did.
So Disney is coming out with one. Almost every single TV channel or TV production company has their own subscription service. On top of music, Drive. So basically people are suffering from subscription fatigue, where now you have to subscribe for everything. If you want to use a good email client, you have to pay a subscription. Pay a subscription.
And pay monthly.
Yeah, and so people are getting sick, the whole point of moving out of TV, like cable TV, is because you got to buy every single channel you want to watch and then add it to your bundle. And then at the end of the month, you basically start paying like $70 to $200 for all the channels you want to watch. And the only reason for... and also you had to rent movies by cassette or CD to watch them, or if you gotta pay for them on some kind of service online like HBO to watch them on TV. You gotta pay for it. So it was ridiculous, and now we're coming back to it again. It's circling back. For a short while, everyone was on Netflix. Now everyone wants to make their own TV service, and I don't see why. They're basically ruining it again because you have to pay for every service now to watch what you want. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, like in a way we're going back to cable television. Like cable television came out to what, like $100 a month, $60 to $100 a month. Now you're just going back to that with TV streaming services. You're going with if let's say there's a show you want to watch on HBO, and there's an original you want to watch on HBO, and there's an original up to speed. An original is a show that is made by only that streaming service. So like a Netflix original is a show that's only on Netflix.
Yeah.
A YouTube original, they actually have them, is a show that's only on YouTube.
Yeah, we didn't mention that one. YouTube
so
Premium. There's YouTube Premium now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
Too many subscriptions. It's ridiculous.
Too many streaming services. So that's what an original is. Now, the thing is that you want to watch a show that's an HBO original, you have to subscribe to HBO. You want to watch a show that's a Netflix original, you have to subscribe to Netflix. Now, that's what Apple is trying to do with TV Plus, is the fact that they're trying to come out with originals that are going to convince people to want to spend that extra $15 to $20 a month on this streaming service. But I don't know, it's a very competitive market that people, like, we've sort of almost not reached, like, we almost reached a peak with subscription services in the fact that people subscribe to everything nowadays. It's like you said, you want a mail client, a good mail client, you have to subscribe. You have to subscribe to everything. Anything you want a calendar service, you have to pay yearly or monthly. You want storage on your iPhone, you have to pay monthly. For everything now, it's subscription.
Yeah.
And now to bring something else that's a subscription, with already the streaming services, it's people already have Netflix. People already have like HBO or Hulu or Crave or whatever. They already have those services. And to say, like, let's say someone's like, I don't want to subscribe to anything else. For them to say, I'm going to unsubscribe from Netflix and resubscribe to Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
Unless the shows are really good. I mean, they did preview them at the March event.
Yeah.
But
well, they didn't really preview them. They just told us what they were.
Well, yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see a trailer.
They didn't even give trailers. No, they didn't even give trailers But look, I mean, maybe I hope it does successful. If the shows are good and I have time, I'll subscribe to it. See what it's all about.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have Netflix with my family. We have Netflix and we just use that if we want to watch anything. Usually it has everything that you want. It has, I mean, TV shows, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't watch too much Netflix. I'm more on YouTube. But if Apple TV Plus is good and it has some pretty good shows, I guess I'll give it a subscription. But
they have to build a catalog.
I don't know. I hope it does well.
Let me paint a picture here. Well, I would like to, before painting that picture, I'd like to say, like, Apple, they must join forces with like Walt Disney or someone else, because they don't have enough content to begin with. They must like grab someone else's content for a short while. I know that Apple has very tight relationships with Walt Disney, so I don't know if they could do something together where you get a limited selection of all the catalogs, and the catalogs of like Disney has a very impressive catalog of like thousands of movies.
But the problem with that is that Disney is coming out with their own streaming service. So why would they want to give their content to Apple?
I agree with you, but here's the thing. So one of the chairmen of Apple on the board of directors, or whatever it's called, he's also a chairman for Walt Disney. And when Apple announced that they're coming out with a TV streaming service, and Walt Disney as well, this man has a conflict of interest if there are both of them competing. So what makes me believe that they're going to partner up at some point, or they're going to have some kind of collaboration, is that, first of all, Walt Disney has the production studios and everything, which Apple doesn't. And second of all, the director is still director on board of the two companies. So if the Apple thought that it'd be a problem for them to have him on the board of directors in the same time of Apple and Walt Disney, they would kick him out, but they didn't. So there must be something going on here. But let me paint a picture.
True.
Let's put this in perspective. Let's say I'm an all-out Apple subscriber. I subscribe to everything. I have the latest iPhone, latest iPad, the latest Apple Watch, and latest Mac. And so for me to have the full Apple experience, I must first of all subscribe to Apple Music. So Apple Music, generally speaking, is $10 a month, but you could get it as low as $5 if you're a student. So that's one thing. Then you need cloud. Cloud, I think it's about $5 for a reasonable amount. I think it's either 200 gigabytes or 500. I forget which one, but that's another $5. Then,
Well, what I'm subscribed to is $1.30 a month, and you get 50 gigs.
yeah, 50. But if you start using more pictures, more like let's say on your computer, you start storing all your pictures and data and everything on it, then you start getting needing more. So
True.
so let's say after you've been
Yeah, $5 a month is reasonable. Yeah, for like 200 gigs.
Let's say
yeah.
you've been a long term, like you've been an Apple user for a while, and you have like catalogs, years of information backed up. Okay, so that's another $5. And so let's add also a subscription service for Apple's new gaming service. So the new gaming
Yeah,
service.
Apple Arcade.
So let's say that's another $10 a month. And then let's add also Apple News, because why not? I like to read news. And I like to read premium articles written by good sources. So that's another $10. And so Apple comes out with a TV stream service. That's another $10. Am I missing something, Daniel?
No, I think that's it for paying. I think that's it. There's the Apple Card, but that's free.
Yeah, that's free. Let me see. I think there's another service, but okay, if I forget any, whatever. Let's say I got them all. So you've got a total you've got basically right now, you're going to be paying between about, let's say, $40 to $50, $60, and that's before tax. So you're going to be paying that much for all your services. Okay, the regular or like a standard user, and by the way, that's only for Apple services. You're not paying for anything else. You're not paying for Google Drive, Dropbox, Netflix, anything else, any premium app that comes with a subscription. So now you're just paying for Apple, that much a month.
Yeah, you're only Apple.
You know what Apple should do? They should bundle these services, all of them. And
Yeah, for sure.
they should bundle them.
For sure, they need to make a bundle.
This is why Amazon is so successful. The reason why Amazon could give you all of their services with the Prime, what is it called, the Prime subscription? Yeah, it's a yearly. It's like $90.
Yeah, Amazon Prime.
90 to like 100 something a year. The reason why they could give you all of these services for that price is because when you buy Prime, you're buying for all of the services. Music streaming, original content. They have original content. You buy a bit of cloud storage. You buy Twitch pixels and streaming stuff. You buy free shipping.
Yeah, Twitch Prime. Yeah, free shipping and 1 day.
Yeah,
1 day shipping if it's eligible.
Exactly. So you're paying $90 for all of that. Now, let me tell you right here, not everyone is going to use all these services. I'm telling you right now, free shipping and 1 day delivery for a big portion of their catalog on Amazon, on the Amazon store, ships on 1 day. I'm telling you, it doesn't cost them $90 a month for like 5 purchases. The 5 purchases you do in a year. So all of the people that are not using the music streaming service, the original content for the Amazon Prime TV, the Drive, all of these people are subsidizing the people that are using them. So that way, instead of making you pay for what you use, they make everyone pay for it and then average out the price throughout everyone. So everyone pays the same price, but not everyone uses the same amount. What this does is it equalizes the burden in prices for everyone. So let's say you really want to use Apple News, only Apple News and Google and Apple Drive, iCloud, and let's say music. Instead of paying, let's say, a combined $30 for all of these services, let's say you'll be paying about $25. Just a hypothetical number.
Yes.
But you're not the only one who's paying $25, because everyone else that wants the 200 gig storage in the iCloud, they're going to be paying $25 for it. They'll get the everything else. I don't know. Apple has to figure out a price that's not too steep on a yearly basis, but everyone, like, to attract more people to it, because the more people pitch in into this service or this subscription, like, honestly, right now I'm willing to pay $20 a month for this service, for all of these stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you get all of that, oh yeah, for sure.
Because
me too.
what I could do is I could cancel Netflix, I could cancel a lot of stuff I'm paying for right now that I don't want. I could like get rid of. I could get rid of Google Drive, and get a bigger storage amount on iCloud. I could do a ton of stuff that will allow me to cut costs somewhere else and put it in Apple, because I'm getting more value out of my little payment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
my view of it. They should do bundling. I don't know if you have something else to say.
No. That pretty much covers the topic. I agree with you. They should make a bundle, and I know the event, the main hitter was Apple TV Plus, but I mean, I think if you make a bundle, it'll be of a side thing. I mean, there are people who, I mean, look, it all depends on what the shows that they give. They only gave us like little previews. They weren't even trailers. They were just like little, like, they give you a little hint on what the storyline was going to be. It was very, very, very basic stuff. If the shows are really good, and it's like people are really gonna want to watch them, and they catch on and everybody's watching them, the streaming service is gonna do great and it's gonna explode. But if the shows are meh and they're just mediocre and they're average, no one's gonna subscribe to it. But knowing Apple and the fact that they had $1 billion and they only made like 5 shows, I think it's gonna be. I think they're pretty good. They're gonna be pretty good.
You know, I hope so, because Apple has done a lot of things in the past, especially like in gaming, which is similar to movie production, and they didn't succeed pretty well. That was back in the Steve Jobs era. Actually, Apple was trying to make a game.
Yeah.
But you know, so I hope it's not because Apple's mentality and philosophy is now geared towards media production in the same way that people in the media production work. So they have to let them do their own thing, and they have to be like a hands-off policy where they let the media people do their own thing, and Apple does their own thing, and they don't combine, they don't mix. And that's why I'm hoping that it's Disney that's the one who's running all of the studio. Only Apple does the funding, but the Disney does the directoring and the management and everything. And I believe it's going to be a good thing, because Apple is very strict towards non-explicit content, so everything is going to be family friendly. If let's say if
that's a very good
people
thing.
that care about not watching vulgar and this not obscene content will appreciate the service very much, hopefully. And so
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this will bring an outlet for these people that appreciate. Well, actually, we put a target on to Game of Thrones because they're the biggest ones. But like honestly, like out there's like a lot of stuff that people shouldn't watch for various reasons, and I hope that Apple is going to capture the market where they publish content that people like this could enjoy and watch without having to censor and like cover their children's ears every single 5 seconds. So yeah.
Yes, yeah. And if there's one person to do that, it'll be Apple.
Yeah, exactly.
So, speaking about media consumption, well, should we care about the Mac Pro?
The Mac Pro, the beloved Mac Pro, the Mac Pro that John Siracusa has been longing for years, the Mac Pro that has disappointed many people, the Mac Pro that broke so many hearts, the Mac Pro that people are dying over. People have been dying for a new Mac Pro. All right, up to speed. Let's do this. Apple released the Mac Pro. We like to nickname it the cheese grater Mac Pro because it basically looks like a glorified cheese grater. Giant aluminum slab, very modern, like even till today's standards. It's beautiful. Very rugged design. It's made of like this brushed aluminum that the old MacBooks was made of. Very elegant, timeless design.
And that was probably their best Mac Pro.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they only made 2, and that was the better one.
Exactly. It's infinitely upgradable. You could basically do anything to it, add anything to it. Till this day, people still use it. And in 2013, everything changed. Apple released something that we call the Trash Can Mac Pro, which is basically a cylinder, a shiny cylinder that looks like a trash can. It's about a foot.
We'll put the pictures in the show notes.
Now, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. Like this Mac Pro is beautiful. But the problem with it is not upgradable. And just to let you guys know, the Mac Pro is not geared to anyone. Not any Joe Schmo will buy a Mac Pro. You gotta be like a media content producer to own a Mac Pro. You need to justify the cost because the Mac Pro starts at like $5,000 Canadian, Kazakhstan kopecks. So you're paying a pretty penny to begin with, and that's before you buy the keyboard, the mouse, the screen, and any other thing that you need for your Mac Pro to work. So.
And obviously, if you're buying a computer of that quality and of that price, you're gonna want a good, at least 4K display to go with it. So that's another $1,000.
Exactly. And that's where the shortcoming of the Mac Pro, the second generation, the trash can Mac Pro. The first gen, it was beautiful. Everything worked. It had a dedicated Apple-made display that was like 3K, I think, 2 or 3K, which back then was really impressive. It was it came in two sizes. It was a beautiful display. If I show it to you today, you'll think it's brand new, even though it isn't. Timeless design. And the problem with the trash can Mac Pro that came, the second generation Mac Pro basically, the problem with it is Apple designed themselves in a thermal corner, meaning that they were not able to put newer components in it without making it overheat. Why? Because they designed it so small that for them to keep the same form factor and to put new components, new processors, graphic cards, anything inside would basically make it overheat. And Apple's philosophy with this Mac Pro is for it to be dead silent. Dead silent. If you put it right now in a room, like the Mac Pro right now, and you stress it with like the heaviest load you can, you will barely hear the fan inside. That was its benefit. You can't hear it. And for like people that working in sound recording studios and stuff like that, it's very good. Because honestly, if you have to have like these really complicated headphones that isolate sound around you but reduce quality of audio, you're basically losing on your quality of production. And there's many situations where you don't want a loud computer for intensive tasks. Now, I said that the starting price of the Mac Pro is $5,000, the trash can, but it actually goes up to $25,000 if you fully upgrade it, put all the storage you want in it, everything. So it's a very expensive device, and people were very disappointed, mainly because Apple was betting that the whole industry would adapt to a protocol called OpenCL. OpenCL gives you the ability of using two graphics cards in conjunction together and to combine the strength of those two graphics cards to power your device, power applications, power any production and project that you're doing on your computer for increasing the speed and giving you the optimal render times and all kinds of benefits. But unfortunately, all these predictions didn't materialize. And that's the sad part. The industry did not go in the OpenCL protocol standard. And so the Mac Pro was basically rendered useless. It was not very well supported. People didn't buy a lot of it. And it was a big disappointment. Some people like went back to their old cheese grater Mac Pro, upgraded it again, and kept on working on it. Because fundamentally, it was kind of faster or as fast. And so,
well, yeah, because if you upgrade the components and you put brand new parts inside, it'll work like a brand new computer.
Yeah. And so now people are expecting, we spoke about it last week. We spoke that in WWDC, dub, as we like to call it, dub. We were expecting maybe for Apple to announce that the Mac Pro. And the only reason why we're expecting it to run the Mac Pro, to announce the Mac Pro, is because WWDC is full of the people that would buy it. Developers, the people that make applications, the people that are using them, the professionals. And so in conjunction with the Mac Pro, they're rumored to announce a 6K screen for people that do graphic design and everything for those applications for production and everything that people use Mac Pro for. And so they're going to give you a beautiful 6K screen. And that was one of the downfalls of the trash can Mac Pro that came out, the disappointing one. When it came out with a port called Thunderbolt 2. Thunderbolt 2 is fast, but not very fast. It is fast enough to maybe put an external hard drive to your computer at very high speed. And a hard drive, I don't mean hard drive, I mean like SSD drive. Like a super fast SATA SSD, you could probably saturate your bus using that protocol. It was very good for its time. But unfortunately, a few months later, Intel announced the Thunderbolt 3 protocol, which was basically 4 times faster. So you have a new Mac Pro running old ports.
Old technology.
Old ports.
Old ports.
And
it's not what you want.
The main problem with those old ports on the Mac Pro is they cannot run a 4K screen. If a professional wants to edit 4K with those the Thunderbolt 2, he can't.
Ports.
He can't.
It
It doesn't have enough bandwidth to pass enough information from the computer to the screen. You have.
It's honestly terrible.
It's a very unfortunate. Honestly, I love the design, bro. They put so much thought into it, but
it is nice.
But I wish
nice.
they had more computer nerds working on it, because the design aspect, Johnny Ive nailed it. The beautiful finish, it's a timeless design. I could put this in. Actually, I think they did put it in a museum. I think they put the Mac Pro in the Louvre, like right next to the Mona Lisa.
No way.
Yeah, they put it for a while right next to the Mona Lisa. That's how beautiful it was. They put it in a museum right next to the Mona Lisa.
It's not upgradable.
It is upgradable, but not very much. You can't upgrade the processor, which is the most important part.
I think it's only like you can only do the RAM or whatever.
The RAM and the SSD.
Only like the RAM.
The RAM and the SSD. That's the only thing you could do.
Yeah, that's like.
You could maybe do the CPU, but not a lot of CPUs are compatible with that socket. So what people are expecting right now is the new Mac Pro. The new Mac Pro is believed to be a modular design. We don't have much information on it, but like as a tech enthusiast, when I hear modular, it scares me and it rejoices me, because I know if Apple does modular, I hope they're going to do it right. I know they're going to do
like
something.
The cheese grater.
That's the thing. I don't think they're going to make the cheese grater design. I don't think it's going to be like a regular computer case. I think it's.
But that would be ideal.
That would be ideal. Yes, you're right.
That would be ideal. There is that rumor about like that stacking, but I think if they make it back like a PC style, like
let me build
the cheese grater where everything is interchangeable.
Exactly. Let me build up to that, because I'm actually painting. I want to present it in a certain way. I like you. You reminded me of this. Actually, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. I'm going to build up to this, and so. What people are expecting is Apple to release a modular design. Modular means many things. It's vague, but it means many things. It's either that you could stack components on top of each other that Apple will sell you, or that you could modify. So, those like big computer boxes, you could open it, put more RAM sticks inside, whatever. You could do it on your own. You don't have to buy Apple parts. I don't think Apple's gonna do that, because that's basically going back to the cheese grater Mac Pro, which honestly, even though people bought it a lot and loved it, not a lot of people upgraded. Apple knows how many times people open the case and put stuff inside and remove them. They know. There's sensors inside telling them that every time someone opens a case, let's say, to put a new SD card or a new RAM or a new anything, they know. And so I believe that Apple has to look at the cheese grater Mac Pro and the trash can Mac Pro. The cheese grater being the success, and the trash can being
the failure.
The failure. Ultimately, it's a failure, even though it had some good things to it. And I think Apple should use the trash can Mac Pro as a cautionary tale, where they have to look at the trash can Mac Pro and see that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What they did with the trash can Mac Pro is they fixed the cheese grater Mac Pro till it was broken. But it wasn't broken to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
They fixed it till it broke. So they took something that already worked, the wheel, and tried to improve on it. You don't try to improve on the wheel, people. That's one thing you learn. You do not try to improve the wheel. People have tried in vain. You may innovate on the wheel, but you don't improve the wheel. The wheel is fundamentally the same concept. Don't come at me with like, oh, I'm gonna make a pentagon wheel, just for. Okay, it might have a practical application, but overall, the wheel is still the wheel, and it's you could use it for anything. And the same the same principle applies for the Mac Pro, and that's what I hope that Apple learned. They learned from their mistakes. I hope that they figure out that people want to customize their computer. Now, to go what you were referring to. By the way, if you want to interject anytime, go ahead, because I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, I will.
All right. And so what I believe, maybe you'll be able to help me out with the tails of stackable rumors.
Yeah, so what he said was that, like, I don't know if you guys know what the Mac Mini looks like. We'll leave a picture of what a Mac Mini looks like in the show notes. But basically what it is, it's like a square design. It's about maybe 1.5 inches high. And it's just like take a square that's about 1.5 inches wide, like thick. And what it is, that's basically what the Mac Mini is. And what they're saying that this new modular Mac Pro is going to be is that you buy a base, that it's the same design, it's that square design of the Mac Mini. And what it is, it's that you buy the base and this has the CPU and the motherboard. And then after, what you do is that you buy another square that's maybe like a little bit thinner. And this square, like let's say it's the style of, let's say, stacking Mac Minis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You would buy this other square that has, let's say, RAM in it. And then you put that on top of this base that's the motherboard and that's the CPU. And then you would buy another square that's a graphics card. And then you would buy another square that's storage, either like SSD or whatever. Like you could, and then you just stack all of these things. So you have the base, you have, let's say, your motherboard and your CPU. And then after you, on top you put the RAM, and on top you put the storage. And then you just stack this thing until it's like all these squares stacked. That's what they're saying. That's what's in speculation about what the modular, in air quotes, Mac Pro is going to be. So the only way that you can upgrade any component is by actually buying a new part from Apple. That's the only way that it's possible to upgrade. They're not saying that it's going to be like the cheese grater, like a PC where you can just open it up, go to the store, go to your local computer parts seller, Best Buy, go pick up a graphics card and plug it in. They're saying it's not going to be like that, that you actually have to go to like an Apple store and buy a Mac Pro graphics card and actually stack it. So they're saying it's going to be a stackable design. But it's an interesting design. It'll be a new take on modular Macs.
Exactly.
Because on modular computers in general, because there's no computer that's built in that way. I mean, there's all-in-ones, and then after there's normal desktops and there's laptops, but there's nothing that's built stackable where it's modular in that way.
There's been modular prototypes before, but they're all prototypes. They never entered into mass market. I think HP did one, but it never really. They released it. It never really caught on, and the problem with it was, well, not the problem. It was nice. It was actually well done, but the modules didn't do much. It was basically a audio module and something else. I'll probably post a picture in the show notes to show you guys what it was. It was a beautiful concept. It might look it might be what the Mac Pro is going to be like. And so what I'm hoping for right now for the next Mac Pro is what Daniel said, a base, which has the processor inside with the motherboard and some RAM. and basic storage, not a lot, maybe 256 gigs or something like that, not too much. And let's say you're a video producer, you want let's a lot of power. So you could buy a second CPU attachment. So you have your base module, and then you put a second CPU on top, stack it. And then let's say you want extra storage, then you buy a storage module and you stack it. And you want a GPU module, you stack it. And so you keep stacking modules depending your needs. That way, you don't buy a computer with features and components that you don't need. Say you're a music producer and you want a very high quality output and input for music in your computer. Instead of Apple building a music output and input into the base, which will take space and increase cost, they can make a separate one for these purposes. And what I'm even thinking is they maybe let other companies, like let's say Red wants to make a module for the cameras and to the Mac Pro. So Apple will license, like they license the MFI protocol made for iPhone protocol, like the lightning cables.
Yes.
In the same way to do that, they would give a license to other companies to make modules and to sell it under the Apple brand. And
that would be great. If they do that, that would be great.
And
because then after you get other companies that are specialized in that product making components for the computer, which would be amazing.
Yeah. And so Blackmagic, the company that makes cameras and cinema hardware, Apple already did something with them. They made the eGPU, the Radeon 580 and the Vega 64.
Yeah, exactly.
They've already done some stuff together. And so let's say Apple tells them, okay, we want you to make something that will fit in this module size. And so basically Apple makes 3 sizes of thickness of modules, and each company could make whatever they want inside as long as it's approved by Apple. Apple tests it and they sell it to you. So you could use whatever equipment you already have right now that you have in your house. So let's say if you already have a Red camera, you could use your Red camera with your Mac Pro because you have a Red camera module which will help you to use your camera with your computer for whatever, whether it is co-processing, decoding, how the Red cameras use these like SD cards, magazines. So imagine on the front of the Mac Pro module, you could just like slide it in, and then instead of having this adapter that's annoying and anything. So that's what I'm hoping for. That for every kind of specialty, let's say you do a lot of bio research. Bio research, it requires a lot of GPUs. So you buy a module with the most basic processor, and then you buy as many GPUs as you need. And RAM.
Exactly.
So for every task, you could do your own setup. Of course, I bet that there's going to be some kind of limit to it, but I know that Apple will be able to, if they go this way and they figure it out.
Push the boundaries.
If they figure out this technique and this way to do it, and they open it up to other manufacturers like Sony, like Red Camera, like Canon, like Blackmagic, like any other companies that produce professional equipment, this would be a big hit. And
for sure.
And the biggest problem for Apple with Apple products is every time you buy more storage, you got to pay an extra like $1,000 with computers.
The storage is very expensive.
Very expensive, especially on computers. On phones, it's getting more and more acceptable, but on computers, it's ridiculous. Like to upgrade from I think from 128 gigs to 1 terabyte is about $500 to $800. It's ridiculously expensive.
It's like the price of the computer.
So what I'm hoping is they open it up to Western Digital, Seagate, Samsung to make their own versions of those storage modules, and then they compete to drive prices down. So competition is good. And so that's what I'm looking forward. We could keep on speculating about this for years and years. Like I'm honestly like basically already sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for to see what Apple will announce for the Mac Pro, because like if it disappoints, If it disappoints,
It'll be
it's gonna be
very, very heartbreaking.
it's gonna be very heartbreaking.
Terrible.
People have been
And
expecting
we will
it,
lose our trust.
but yeah, exactly.
Apple making the Mac
You know,
Pro.
they'll lose the professional market for good this time, because people.
Oh yeah, if they mess up this time, they'll lose the professional market.
They were able to capture
So-
people with the iMac Pro, but not. It was basically holding them in place until something new came out.
Exactly.
And so we could keep on talking about this forever. If you have closing thoughts, go ahead. But or else we could go to our next subject.
I hope they nail the Mac Pro, and I hope that it's gonna be an amazing device. And I just hope that they get it right this time and not make something like the trash can.
Yeah, exactly.
The ideal design would be like the cheese grater, but I wouldn't mind the stackable either. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind either way because I wouldn't be using it. But aside from that, for those would be the ideal designs.
Yeah, exactly.
If they come out with some crazy weird trash can design,
Daniel,
I don't know.
Daniel, this is in your
You
future,
don't want that.
because if you continue in computer engineering, what you will be able to do is maybe potentially have the opportunity of using one usefully, because you will need, if let's say you go towards the direction of computer engineering in the Apple platform, you will have to use something high powered. So maybe in the future,
It's true.
you will be using a Mac Pro. And so you better hope that's gonna be good. So else you'll be stuck with a Windows Macintosh.
Yeah,
whatever.
so I'm not stuck using
Hackintosh.
Hackintosh. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's go to.
So those are my closing thoughts.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next topic. Let's talk about the OnePlus 7. OnePlus 7 is a Chinese brand, and they came out with this new phone. And Daniel, tell us about it.
The OnePlus 7 Pro.
Yes.
Honestly, this phone is a really like OnePlus has a reputation of being like budget and stuff like that. Of always giving you the best the best bang for your buck. OnePlus is known for being the company that does that. And honestly, I really think that they set the bar with this new OnePlus 7 Pro. I watched a bunch of videos on it. I watched a bunch of reviews, so I basically know everything about it. But honestly, I think that so far, this is the best phone of 2019. I think that this phone is better than the Samsung Galaxy S10. And I just think it's a really great phone. Like, I mean, first of all, the screen. The screen is amazing. It's a 6.7-inch AMOLED screen that has no notch, because we'll get to later why it has no notch. But it has no notch. So basically, there's no bezel. Well, there's a little bit of bezel. Obviously, you need a little bit of bezel. But there's like no bezel and there's no notch, so there's no obstruction. It's all screen. The front of the phone is all screen, which looks amazing. You have to see pictures of it. It's just amazing. So first of all, the screen is amazing in the fact that it has no notch and it's completely bezel-less. Secondly, the screen is 90 hertz refresh rate. Usually an average phone has the refresh rate is how many times a second your screen of your device refreshes, basically. So it's basically like frames per second. They just for screens they call it refresh rate. So an
basically
average device,
the more frames, the smoother the picture is.
Yes, this like the more like as you're scrolling, it'll be smoother. It'll be easier on the eyes. So a normal phone, for like the past 5 years, have like 60 hertz refresh rates, which is like 60 frames a second. But this phone, the OnePlus 7 Pro, has a 90 hertz refresh rate, which we use the iPad Pro, which has ProMotion, which is 120 hertz.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. But it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you to whoever in Cupertino that brought this to the table and said this was a good idea. God bless you.
Go to Apple and try out one of their
seriously.
iPads.
It's
you'll love it. You'll buy one on the spot.
It makes the iPhone XS Max feel slow. I'm not kidding. The fastest iPhone feels slow in comparison because of the refresh rate.
Yeah, it is amazing. And this phone has a 90 hertz refresh rate. So it has 30 hertz more than your average phone. So not only is the screen, it's 1440p, which is higher than 1080p, which is what, well, obviously, but it's 1080p is usually what a normal screen is. It's 1440p, so it's a little bit less than 4K, and it's a bit better than like HD, even though 4K is considered HD, but whatever, we'll leave it at that. It has 3 lenses, 3 cameras on the back, which is pretty decent. I mean, it has all 2019 phones now have 3 lenses on the back. It has ultra wide, telephoto for zoom, and it has just a regular sensor.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really impressive is that if you go on the highest storage option, which is not that much US prices, I think it's 750 or something, 700. You get 12 gigabytes of RAM.
That's just ridiculous.
12 gigs of RAM.
Most laptops
on a
don't have
phone.
that many.
That's amazing. Yeah, exactly. It has more storage, more RAM than like a laptop. That's crazy. Not now. This is the really special part, is that because it has no notch, it has no camera in the front screen. Now you're saying, where is the camera? It has a front pop-up camera. That is amazing. Honestly, I love it. I find the OnePlus 7 Pro is the best phone of 2019.
You know,
Not to mention they have that warp charge thing where it brings up to like something like 50% in 15 minutes.
Yeah, no,
Honestly,
I agree. It's a beautiful display, beautiful design. I think if Apple were to make a like completely notchless design, it will look like this. I believe that they have the right proportion on all around the circumference of the phone, not too thick, not too thin, so that when you hold your phone, you don't touch the screen by accident. The bezel is not too let's say intrusive, so it doesn't look out of proportion. And honestly, good job for them. You know, I would round of applause. You know,
they did a really good job. They did a really good job with this phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very good job. I really like it. If I wasn't in the Apple ecosystem, I would probably consider this phone.
Yeah, but you know,
I'm too deep in the Apple system to leave.
Here's the thing that worries me about this phone. I saw the reviews that, like, honestly, like OnePlus 7, they're very quick phones. For the price, they actually beat out everyone else. But here's the thing that really bothers me. 2 things. OnePlus 7 has 12 gigs of RAM. Why? Because it's they have from, I think it's 8 to 12, right?
Yeah, I think so.
8 to 12 or 6 to 12, I forgot, depending on what storage size you buy. So they have that much RAM. Why? Because of the shortcomings of Android. Android is so poor at managing RAM.
Yes.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about OnePlus is to fight Android's shortcomings in RAM management. What they'll do is they're very aggressive at closing background apps. So let's say you have an application that's in the background, you didn't close it yet. It's just like you exit one app and you went to the other one, and let's say after a very short while, your phone will decide, okay, this app is not being used. I don't think the user is going to use it. Let's just close it completely. Let's remove it from the storage, from the RAM. And so let's clear the memory from all information pertaining to this application, so it doesn't use excess battery life, which is very good for maintaining a long battery life. The problem with it is the following. If you have 12 gigs of RAM, but you always have an aggressive software that kicks out everything from storage and RAM so that you save battery, what's the point?
Yeah, that's true.
What's the point? If nothing's going to stay in the RAM, why bother putting more of it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I just find it's a good phone. Yeah. Anyways, any closing thoughts on
my second annoyance, like aside all of everything else, everything looks good, but I'm just being like I'm being a curmudgeon, Michael. You know, it's late at night.
Yeah.
I'm being grumpy. You know, like I need something to get mad at for some reason. That's how I am. Deal with it. Don't be creepy. The other thing that bothers me about this phone is the pop-up camera. It's a nice solution for the pop-up camera, but you know, people will say, "Oh, Apple, why couldn't you do this? Why couldn't you do that?" Apple didn't do a pop-up camera for one simple reason. First of all, it's a mechanized component. It's one point of failure extra. Say that you something happens and you drop it on the camera. I know they have some kind of technology to detect when it's falling, but even then, technology is not always perfect. It will fall one day. It will snap in your pocket. A child will pull it off. You don't know what happens. But the pop-up camera only serves for taking pictures. The notch on the iPhone, which people like to compare it to the Note, every other phone that doesn't have a bezel, they like to say that why Apple couldn't do this. And the reason is why Apple doesn't do what other companies do with the pop-up cameras, the mechanized cameras, the pinhole, whatever it's called, is because...
Face ID.
Face ID. There you go. Face ID. The most secure authentication, biometric, whatever you want to call it, identification protocol. The reason why Apple has that notch is functional. It is not beautiful, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to take for security. Now I don't have a phone with a notch, but many people I know, friends, and use it all the time, and it's convenient. Why? Because your face is always there. Your face, even if it's wet, your phone will recognize it. It's not like when your fingerprints are dirty. You put it on the sensor and then it stops recognizing your.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. The Face ID doesn't work that way. You could basically get recognized at all times very easily, and it's a really good benefit of it that also you don't have to put your finger on the sensor. It does it automatically. You're basically already looking at your phone. Might as well just use
exactly.
Yeah. And I think that the best way to get around the problem with Face ID and notches and cameras and pop-up cameras is to put the cameras on the display and figure out how to take a picture through the display. And many companies are working towards that. We'll see where it leads. This is the most significant, in my opinion, advancement in technology that they could come up with in our recent time, now that the market is stale. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, I don't know if you have anything else to say, bro, about this topic.
I don't. I just find that it's a really amazing phone for the price. I find it's a really good phone, and I think it's going to do well.
Yeah, exactly. So, the next topic, let's talk about the Power Beats. The Power Beats Pro. Apple released the Power Beats Pro. For those who don't know what Power Beats are, it's basically headphones, but instead of connecting to your phone, they connect to each other with a wire. They're wireless. If anyone knows about LeBron James, knows that this is his favorite kind of headphones. So they're super iconic. Most people in the gym that wear headphones will wear Power Beats before the AirPods because they were so practical, so well done. They never fall off. They have ear loops. They're water resistant. They last a long time. Very well made. And Apple came out with a wireless version, completely wireless. So both earphones do not touch each other. Daniel, tell us about it.
Honestly, I think the Power Beats Pro are amazing headphones. I think that they're great headphones. I would even say, if you gave me the choice, I have AirPods. I know the Power Beats are a little bit more, the case is a bit more, it's bigger, they're a bit more bulky, but I don't have I know there are some people who have problems with AirPods falling out of their ears. I don't. But even though I don't have problems with AirPods falling out of my ears, I would take the Power Beats.
Yeah.
Now, there are a few reasons why I would. Do you have like any introducing thoughts about the Power Beats that you would like to mention?
Introducing thoughts as in, I just think they're beautiful. They serve a purpose.
Yes.
Like, as you said, some people have abnormal ear canals. So AirPods don't really fit well in their ears. They were very disappointed that AirPods couldn't fit. So you get the same smoothness of technology and chips and the chip inside the AirPods. You get the same one in the Power Beats Pro, That way, you could benefit from everything that you get with AirPods, including the battery life, the charging case, everything, without having to deal with the issues of them falling off and whatsoever. And that's a big plus,
Exactly.
That's a big plus, because if you could create a better seal around your ears and not have them fall off every single time, it'll bring you more enjoyment. Unfortunately, for some people, they cannot enjoy AirPods. I'm not one of those people. Mine, they fit perfectly. They never fall off, unless if
Yeah, me too, same.
if I could bump into something, or like I'm removing my shirt and they hang on my shirt. That's the only reason why they fall off. Or else I go to the gym, use them at the gym. They never fall off. I run on the treadmill. I do intensive exercise. I do like all kinds of activity. They never fall off. I sleep with them. And when I sleep, I turn and toss all the time. And even with that, sometimes in the morning I wake up and they're still in my ears. So yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's all my thoughts. So it's a good design. It's not for me even for now, but I really appreciate it. It's innovation from Beats.
Why I would take Power Beats Pro over AirPods. I have a few reasons why. First of all, I like the fact that the AirPods fit in my ears fine, but I like the fact that they have customizable ear tips they
exactly.
also have the dual layered ear tips.
Oh.
That if you want extra noise canceling, the dual layered ear tips come in the box.
Yeah, that's a bonus. That's a big
very
bonus,
nice.
bro. That's a big
That's a bonus. They have the dual layered ear tips. So first they have those. Secondly, I like the fact that they have the noise canceling, because I use my AirPods a lot when I'm on the bus, when I'm on the metro. It's very noisy on the bus and on the metro. If anybody's ever taken public transport, they know that there's a lot of engines, there's a lot of wheel sounds, there's a lot of electric motors for the metros. There's a lot of noise. The metro is very noisy. And what I find myself doing, because the AirPods have very poor noise canceling, well, just a bad seal around your ear canal, I find myself putting my volume, when I'm listening to a podcast or when I'm listening to music, I find myself putting the volume almost to max, because or else I can't hear what they're talking about. Now that's bad for long term hearing. That's no good. I mean, you're damaging your ears because you're always listening to high volumes of audio for long periods of time, and the reason why I do it is because or else I can't hear the content that I'm listening to unless I put it so loud, because the metro, there's people talking, there's the sound of the wheels on the rails, and it's just in general it's loud. So in the case of the Power Beats, it forms a seal with the little ear tip that goes into your ears. It forms a seal, so you wouldn't have to put the volume as loud because you have less noise interrupting with what you're listening to. Also, what I like about the Power Beats is that they have tactile buttons on both sides and that you can adjust the volume with the buttons. What it has is that on the top of the Power Beats, there's a volume rocker. So you can adjust your volume. I know.
Yeah,
I
really missed that, bro. I really missed that.
Yeah, that's nice. For me, it doesn't really make too much of a difference because I do have an Apple Watch and I just adjust my volume from there.
Yeah.
But for those who don't have Apple Watches, it's convenient. And even if you do have an Apple Watch, let's say you're wearing a jacket, you have to pull your jacket sleeve up and then adjust the volume like that. You just put your hand to your ear and you do the volume. Also, the Beats logo on the Power Beats is a button in which you could pause or change track. You can go back a track. You can activate Siri. Also, what's really nice about them is that because they have the H1 chip, they have a Hey Siri integrated into them, and they have the pairing like the AirPods.
Yeah.
And also because they have the ear hook, they have a very secure fit, and the design is very nice.
Yeah.
Like you said. So those are my thoughts on the Power Beats. I would take Power Beats over AirPods. And also what's nice, just one little last thing to add for me, is like the AirPods has the detection for when it's in your ear and out of your ear, the little optical sensor.
Yeah.
The Power Beats have that too. So if you would remove one, your music or your podcast or whatever you're listening to will stop, will pause. So
nice.
It's very nice. It basically has all the conveniences of an AirPod, just it has a bit better noise cancellation and has volume rockers. But it's more set into your ear and it's more secure. You can't just easily remove one like you can of an AirPod. But
you know,
for me personally, I would take the Power Beats.
yeah,
Even though
that's
they're
great.
a little bit more expensive,
Yeah,
like a lot more expensive.
That's great. Actually, that's a good point. You know, that's the thing I really miss the most of my earpods. The wired version. It had the inline control remote. It was so intuitive, so easy, so clicky, so nice. Like very good design. It had the dent in the middle, which let you know where to press pause, and through this dent in the middle, you know where to play. We know that okay, so this is the middle spot, and then you raise your finger a bit to the top, and then you could raise the volume. You could put your finger lower, the lowers from the dent, and then you could lower the volume, and then you had all of the inline controls, the skip music. If you triple click, it does previous track, double click, next track, single click. You get to play and pause. It's very good design, and that's what I miss the most from my AirPods.
Yeah, and with the Power Beats, you're getting that back.
Yeah, that's maybe the thing. That's the only thing that would sway me back to the AirPod. What's it called?
Power Beats.
Power Beats.
Pro.
But you know, I'm really happy with my AirPods. I'm not gonna pay another
me too.
What is it? $350, bro?
$330.
$330.
Canadian dollars.
That's Canadian dollars. Canadian Kanakistan Kopecks.
That's insane. That's a lot of money though.
Yeah, no, it is. But
It's a
you
lot
know,
of money.
some people, you know, they can't use AirPods, so I guess you gotta pay the premium price. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I guess that wraps up the our thoughts on the Power Beats,
Yeah.
and that wraps up the episode.
Yeah, we've been playing. We've been recording for about a few hours right now. Not a few hours. We've been recording for. Yes, we've been
About an
recording
hour
for
and 10.
5 hours. Welcome to the ANA.
We've been here all day.
We've been recording since 6 a.m. No, you imagine like
you don't know how
people,
long we labor to put these episodes out.
Yeah, no, people will be so confused if we say that. You know, like oh, what happened? Like they only download the episode and they see 1 hour and 10 minutes, and
They hear we've been recording all day.
yeah, and then like what happened to the rest of the recording? Do you have to pay for it? Did I get a bad download on my Apple Podcast? What happened? Is the stream broken? Did you guys made a mistake? What happened? I want to hear the whole thing.
No, we only get to hear one portion of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, all right, man. I think that's pretty much it. We've been recording for about an hour and 10 minutes. I'm not going to keep you guys longer. There's lots of more to talk about, but I guess you guys have to wait till next week. We'd like to thank you for sticking with us till the end. You could follow us at Facebook, on Facebook at Again and Again Podcast. Also, you could find us on Instagram at again.podcast and Twitter at Again Podcast. Also, if you have recommendations or criticisms, you could email us at the2apodcast@gmail.com. The 2 in the 2A podcast is the number. You could also visit us at our website, againandagainpodcast.com. We have a lot of links and to all the podcast applications where you could find us. We have the link for Spotify and everything else, so you can find us there. Also, if you'd like to support us, you could leave a 5-star rating and a good review in the Apple Podcast application, as this helps a lot. It helps us a lot, and to promote our podcast and everything.
Yes, it does.
Also, share this podcast with your friends and family, and with people that care about that stuff. The more people, the merrier. You know, more people here start listening to that podcast, the more we appreciate it. You know, we're doing this for fun, but if more people are listening to this, it will bring us more satisfaction, because we're not doing this just for us. We know that you guys could get value out of it, and if anyone else could get value, we're happy. And lastly, you could also become a Patreon member. For $1 a month, you could help us replenish the Tim Hortons coffee fund, and you'll get a few perks. Perks are subject to change, but for now, you could ask us. You could request topics and get premium benefits. You could find those benefits at our website, and just go on our website and find the Patreon link from there, and it will bring you to our Patreon page. Thank you very much for listening, and good night.
Good night.